Frequently, when they came to a gate or stile, she found painted thereupon in red or blue letters some text of Scripture, and she asked him if he knew who had been at pains to emblazon these announcements. He told her that the man was employed by himself and others who were working with him in that district to paint these reminders, that no means might be left untried which might move the hearts of a wicked generation. At length the road touched the spot called Cross in Hand. Of all spots on the bleached and desolate upland, this was the most forlorn. It was so far removed from the charm which is sought in landscape by artists and view-lovers as to reach a new kind of beauty, a negative beauty of tragic tone. The place took its name from a stone pillar which stood there, a strange rude monolith from a stratum unknown in any local quarry, on which was roughly carved a human hand. Differing accounts were given of its history and purport. Some authorities stated that a devotional cross had once formed the complete erection thereupon, of which the present relic was but the stump. Others that the stone as it stood was entire, and that it had been fixed there to mark a boundary or place of meeting. Anyhow, whatever the origin of the relic, there was and is something sinister or solemn, according to mood, in the scene amid which it stands, something tending to impress the most phlegmatic passer-by. "I think I must leave you now," he remarked as they drew near to this spot. "I have to preach at Abbot's Charnel at 6 this evening, and my way lies across to the right from here, and you upset me somewhat too, Tessie. I will not say why. I must go away and get strength." "How is it that you speak so fluently now? Who has taught you such good English?" "I have learnt things in my troubles," she said evasively. "What troubles have you had?" She told him of the first one, the only one that related to him. D'Urberville was struck mute. "I knew nothing of this till now," he next murmured. "Why didn't you write to me when you felt your trouble coming on?" She did not reply, and he broke the silence by adding, "Well, you will see me again?" "No," she answered. "Do not again come near me." "I will think. But before we part, come here." He stepped up to the pillar. "This was once a holy cross. Relics are not in my creed, but I fear you at moments, far more than you need fear me at present, and to lessen my fear, put your hand upon that stone hand, and swear that you will never tempt me by your charms or ways." "Good God! How can you ask what is so unnecessary? All that is furthest from my thought." "Yes, but swear it." Tess, half frightened, gave way to his importunity, placed her hand upon the stone, and swore. "I'm sorry you're not a believer," he continued, "that some unbeliever should have got hold of you and unsettled your mind. But no more now. At home, at least, I can pray for you, and I will, and who knows what may not happen? I'm off. Goodbye." He turned to a hunting gate in the hedge, and, without letting his eyes rest upon her, leapt over and struck out across the down in the direction of Abbot's Charnel. As he walked his pace showed perturbation, and by and by, as if instigated by a former thought, he drew from his pocket a small book, between the leaves of which was folded a letter, worn and soiled as from much rereading. D'Urberville opened the letter. It was dated several months before this time, and was signed by Parson Clare. The letter began by expressing the writer's unfeigned joy at d'Urberville's conversion, and thanked him for his kindness in communicating with the parson on the subject. It expressed Mr. Clare's warm assurance of forgiveness for d'Urberville's former conduct, and his interest in the young man's plans for the future. He, Mr. Clare, would very much have liked to see d'Urberville in the church to whose ministry he had devoted so many years of his own life, and would have helped him to enter a theological college to that end. But since his correspondent had possibly not cared to do this on account of the delay it would have entailed, he was not the man to insist upon its paramount importance. Every man must work as he could best work, and in the method towards which he felt impelled by the Spirit. D'Urberville read and re-read this letter, and seemed to quiz himself cynically. He had also read some passages from memoranda as he walked, till his face assumed a calm, and apparently the image of Tess no longer troubled his mind. She, meanwhile, had kept along the edge of the hill by which lay her nearest way home. Within the distance of a mile she met a solitary shepherd. "What is the meaning of that old stone I have passed?" she asked of him. "Was it ever a holy cross?" "Cross? No, 'twere not a cross. 'Tis a thing of ill omen, miss. It were put up in world times by the relations of a malefactor who was tortured there by nailing his hand to a post, and afterwards hung. The bones lie underneath. They say he sold his soul to the devil, and that he walks at times." She felt the petite mort at this unexpectedly gruesome information, and left the solitary man behind her. It was dusk when she drew near to Flint Camash, and in the lane at the entrance to the hamlet she approached a girl and her lover without their observing her. They were talking no secrets, and the clear, unconcerned voice of the young woman, in response to the warmer accents of the man, spread to the chilly air as one soothing thing within the dusky horizon, full of a stagnant obscurity upon which nothing else intruded. For a moment the voices cheered the heart of Tess, till she reasoned that this interview had its origin, on one side or the other, in the same attraction which had been the prelude to her own tribulation. When she came close, the girl turned serenely and recognized her, the young man walking off in embarrassment. The woman was Izz Hewett, whose interest in Tess's excursion immediately superseded her own proceedings. Tess did not explain very clearly its results, and Izz, who was a girl of tact, began to speak of her own little affair, a phase of which Tess had just witnessed. "He is Amby Seedling, a chap who used to sometimes come and help at Talbothays," she explained indifferently. "He actually inquired and found out I had come here, and has followed me. He says he's been in love with me these 2 years, but I have hardly answered him." End of chapter 45.